Welcome to Underdog Payback Tales, where the underestimated fight back.
How would you react if the person who tried to silence you suddenly had to call you boss? Imagine giving everything to a company, working long hours, never causing a fuss, only to be told you're too quiet to lead. What if that moment of humiliation became the catalyst for a transformation no one saw coming?
Let me introduce you to Emily, 32 years old, soft-spoken, fiercely intelligent, and utterly devoted to her job. Emily grew up in a small town, raised by parents who believed in hard work and humility. She was the first in her family to go to college, graduating with honors in business administration. From day one at her corporate job, Emily was determined to prove herself. She started in the marketing department, known for her meticulous reports and creative ideas. But Emily was reserved. She preferred listening over speaking, planning over boasting. Her colleagues often overlooked her contributions. While others jockeyed for attention, she stayed late, polishing presentations that made her boss shine. Despite her modest demeanor, Emily's work spoke volumes. She was the go-to problem solver, the person who volunteered to fix the client's mess at midnight, the one who quietly saved the company from a disastrous campaign. Emily's boss, Mr. Carter, was everything she wasn't: loud, charismatic, and obsessed with appearances. He loved public praise. He also loved taking credit. When Emily produced a brilliant marketing strategy that tripled sales in a quarter, Mr. Carter delivered it at the board meeting, basking in applause, without mentioning her name. She shrugged it off. One day, she thought, my work will speak louder than anyone's voice. But she never predicted the humiliation that was coming.
After 6 years of dedication, Emily finally applied for a promotion. A director position opened up. Her performance reviews were stellar. She had led several successful projects and managed teams informally. The promotion seemed like a natural step. Emily prepared a comprehensive proposal outlining her vision to expand the company's brand globally. She rehearsed for hours, anticipating every question. Yet on the day of the interview, Mr. Carter, who chaired the panel, barely looked up from his phone. He smirked. He asked her one question: "Do you think you have the personality to lead?" Emily kept her composure. She calmly highlighted her successes. She explained how her quiet nature allowed her to listen to clients and colleagues, ensuring no one's voice was lost. She promised to build a collaborative environment. But Mr. Carter interrupted. "You're brilliant, Emily," he said loudly, glancing at the others in the room. "But leadership is about presence. You need to command attention. You're too quiet." Laughter rippled through the room. Emily's cheeks burned. She felt like she was in grade school again, being told she was too shy to shine. She left the meeting with her proposal clutched tightly, heart pounding with humiliation. 2 weeks later, the new director was announced. It was Ethan, a charismatic guy from accounting who had been at the company for less than a year. Ethan was known for his jokes, not his competence. He spent more time networking than working. During the announcement, Mr. Carter delivered a speech about dynamic leadership and bold voices. He smiled at Emily as if nothing was amiss. That day, Emily was demoted. Her role was downgraded to assistant marketing coordinator. The reason given? Restructuring. In reality, it was a punishment disguised as an opportunity to support Ethan. Emily walked back to her tiny office, empty box in hand, fighting tears. She had given everything to this company, only to be humiliated for something she couldn't change. The whispers started that afternoon. She's too quiet. She's not cut out for leadership. She should speak up more. Emily sat alone at her desk. Her mind raced. She could quit. She could accept defeat. Or she could do something far more powerful. The injustice ignited a fire within her she had never felt before.
Emily decided she wouldn't let someone else define her worth. She started by quietly researching the company's structure. She read every policy, every report, every financial statement she could access. She worked late nights, not out of loyalty, but to gather information. Emily noticed patterns. Mr. Carter's projects always overspent. He hired friends without proper vetting. He neglected compliance. Meanwhile, Emily's projects consistently stayed under budget and met metrics. She realized she knew more about the company's inner workings than most executives. She also knew something else. The CEO was planning to retire in 18 months, and there had been whispers about succession. Instead of confronting Mr. Carter or Ethan, Emily played the long game. She enrolled in an executive MBA program at night, sharpening her strategic skills. She built relationships with people Mr. Carter ignored: the HR director, the head of compliance, the CFO's assistant. She began volunteering for cross-departmental committees. Slowly, she expanded her influence beyond marketing. She listened in board meetings, taking detailed notes when other directors dismissed small risks. She kept her eyes open for opportunities. She didn't complain, though she had every right. She quietly assembled a portfolio of evidence, of her achievements, of others' negligence, of gaps in the company's leadership. One afternoon, while filing reports in the archive room, Emily stumbled upon a stack of invoices that didn't match the approved budget. She cross-checked them with the finance system. Mr. Carter had been approving expenses that were never logged. Emily dug deeper. She found numerous instances of Mr. Carter shifting funds between accounts, hiding overspending under random categories. It was subtle. To the untrained eye, it looked like harmless errors. But Emily saw a pattern of mismanagement, possibly fraud. She documented everything meticulously. At the same time, her relationship with the new director, Ethan, took an unexpected turn. He confided in her about feeling overwhelmed. He admitted that he often didn't understand the reports and relied on Emily's summaries. Emily helped him, not because she liked him, but because she saw an opportunity to prove her leadership through mentoring. She coached him through his first year. Colleagues began to see Emily as the unofficial leader of marketing. Even though her title was lower, she ran the show behind the scenes.
18 months after the humiliating demotion, the CEO announced his retirement. The board scheduled a vote for his successor. Mr. Carter believed he was next in line. He had the loud voice, the charisma, and now the director title. He campaigned aggressively, hosting lunches and talking about his vision. Emily observed quietly. Then, a week before the vote, the company's CFO discovered irregularities. Someone had submitted a report outlining financial mismanagement in the marketing department. Attached were spreadsheets and invoices highlighting unauthorized expenses approved by Mr. Carter. The report included recommendations for internal control improvements and highlighted Emily's cost-saving measures over the years. At the bottom, a signature: Emily. The board was shocked. They called an emergency meeting. Mr. Carter fumed. He accused Emily of sabotage. Emily calmly walked into the boardroom, folder in hand. She stood at the head of the table, yes, the place she was once told she didn't belong, and presented her case. She explained the patterns of overspending. She provided emails showing Mr. Carter's approvals. She shared testimonials from colleagues she had helped, demonstrating her leadership beyond her title. The board listened in silence as Emily, the quiet one, confidently outlined the risks the company had been facing under Mr. Carter's management. She didn't need to raise her voice. Her facts commanded respect. At one point, she paused and looked at Mr. Carter. "I may be quiet, but my work is loud." The board thanked her. They excused Mr. Carter. After deliberation, they terminated him for cause. It was one of the few times the company had fired a senior manager so publicly. Ethan, who had grown to respect Emily immensely, nominated her for the CEO position. Several directors seconded the nomination. They valued her integrity, strategic thinking, and the quiet strength she displayed. They also acknowledged the trust she had earned across departments. The board unanimously voted. Emily became the new CEO. When Mr. Carter heard the news, he was stunned. The woman he had demoted for being too quiet was now his boss. Emily didn't gloat. She shook his hand as security escorted him out. He left with a box in his hands, just as she had once done. Karma had a poetic way of balancing the scales.
On her first day as CEO, Emily addressed the entire company. She spoke calmly, clearly, without theatrics. She acknowledged the hard work of every department. She shared her vision for a company where all voices, loud or soft, were heard. She emphasized the importance of integrity over charisma. Leadership isn't about how loud you speak, she said. It's about listening, learning, and lifting others. The company erupted in applause. Many employees, especially those overlooked in the past, felt seen for the first time. Emily's story quickly spread. People around the world wrote comments on the company's social media praising her resilience. Quiet leaders everywhere felt inspired. Some even wrote to Emily, sharing their own struggles with being underestimated. Emily always responded with encouragement. She initiated mentorship programs for junior employees. She restructured management to ensure accountability. Under her leadership, the company's profits grew steadily. She fostered a culture where ideas were valued over egos. She hired Ethan back into a role he excelled at, data analysis, and he flourished under her guidance. Looking back, Emily reflected on her journey. If she had reacted to her demotion with anger, she might have quit and taken her talents elsewhere. But by staying, observing, and silently preparing, she turned her humiliation into an opportunity to demonstrate true leadership. She learned that sometimes the greatest power comes from refusing to conform to others' expectations. Her quiet nature, once criticized, became her greatest strength. Emily's story reminds us that revenge doesn't have to be petty or violent. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply becoming the boss of those who tried to bring you down.
Have you ever felt underestimated because of your personality? Have you been told you weren't enough because you didn't fit someone else's mold? Emily's story shows that your value isn't determined by someone's opinion of you. Your dedication, integrity, and quiet resilience can become your greatest assets. If you've ever been dismissed as too quiet, too shy, or too different, remember Emily. You don't need to shout to be heard.
Let your work speak for itself. And when injustice comes your way, prepare quietly, act wisely, and let success do the talking. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales of underdogs who turned humiliation into empowerment. You never know, your story might be next.